I found a tiny pink onesie in my boyfriend's glove compartment while looking for napkins, and when I asked him whose baby he was hiding, he went white as a sheet and told me his ex-girlfriend died in childbirth 2 years ago. I'm writing this from my sister's couch at 3 a.m. because I can't sleep and I can't stop shaking and I don't know what the fuck just happened to my life. My name's Emma. I'm 29. I've been with my boyfriend Jake for 18 months. 18 months of what I genuinely thought was the healthiest, most honest relationship I'd ever had. We met at a friend's barbecue, hit it off immediately, moved in together after a year. He's a software engineer, I'm a nurse. We have a cat named Dumpling. We were talking about getting engaged next spring. Were. Past fucking tense. Let me back up. 3 days ago, I was in Jake's car. My Civic was in the shop, so I'd been borrowing his Subaru to get to my shifts at the hospital. Nothing unusual. I'd driven it a dozen times before. We'd even taken a road trip to Portland in it last summer. I just picked up Thai food on my way home from work. It was like 7 p.m. I was exhausted, still in my scrubs. I'm driving down Hawthorne, and I spill pad Thai sauce on my lap. Of course, because the universe has a sense of humor. So I pull over, and I'm digging around in his glove compartment looking for napkins or tissues, or literally anything to keep this sauce from staining. There's the usual stuff: registration, insurance papers, a tire pressure gauge, some old receipts. And then my hand hits something soft. I pull it out. It's a baby onesie. Tiny, pink, with little elephants on it. Still has the tags on it. I just stared at it, sitting there in this random parking spot with Thai sauce cooling on my thigh, holding this impossibly small piece of clothing. My first thought was that it was a gift, maybe for a coworker's baby shower, but Jake had never mentioned anything like that. And why would it be in his glove compartment and not in a gift bag at home? My second thought was way worse, but I pushed it down immediately. Because no, Jake wouldn't. We'd talked about kids extensively. We both wanted them eventually, but we'd agreed we weren't ready. We were on the same page about everything, weren't we? I sat there for probably 10 minutes, just holding this thing, trying to make it make sense. Then I carefully folded it, put it back exactly where I found it, cleaned my lap with a Starbucks napkin I found under the seat, and drove home. Jake was in the living room when I got back, working on his laptop. Dumpling was sprawled across his feet. Everything looked so fucking normal. "Hey babe," he said without looking up. "How was work?" "Crazy," I said. My voice sounded weird to my own ears. "Saved some pad Thai for you." "You're the best." He smiled at me then. That smile that made me fall for him in the first place. Open, genuine, warm. I should have asked him right then. Should have just held up the onesie and said, "What the fuck is this?" But I didn't. I don't know why. Maybe I was scared. Maybe I wasn't ready to hear the answer. Maybe some part of me already knew that asking that question would break something that couldn't be fixed. So I ate my Thai food and I watched TV with him and I went to bed like everything was fine, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. The next morning, Jake left for work before me. I had a later shift, and the second his car pulled out of the driveway, I went back to his car. The onesie was still there. I checked the tags. Newborn size. From Target, no receipt with it. I took a picture of it with my phone. I don't even know why. Evidence? In case I was going crazy and needed proof it was real? Then I started really looking around his car. I'd never snooped on Jake before, never felt the need to, but now I was pulling everything out of his glove compartment, checking under the seats, opening the center console. That's when I found the second thing. A hospital parking receipt from Providence Medical Center, from 3 months ago. Dated for a Sunday. I was working that Sunday. I specifically remembered it because it was the Sunday of my friend Morgan's birthday brunch, and I'd had to miss it for my shift. Jake said he was going hiking with his buddy Connor. Providence Medical Center is downtown, nowhere near any hiking trails. My hands were shaking as I held that receipt. I took a picture of it too. I wanted to call him right then, demand an explanation. But my shift started in 45 minutes and I couldn't afford to be late again. And some part of me, the part that still loved him, that still wanted there to be an innocent explanation, was screaming at me to wait. To think. To not jump to conclusions. So I went to work. I was a fucking mess during my shift. I work in the ER, so I have to be sharp, but I kept zoning out. Kept checking my phone. Kept thinking about that onesie and that receipt and trying to make them fit into the life I thought I knew. Around 2 p.m. during my break, I did something I'm not proud of. I called Connor. Connor's been Jake's best friend since college. They play basketball together every week. If Jake was lying about the hiking trip, Connor would probably know. "Hey, Emma." Connor sounded cheerful. "What's up?" "Hey, sorry to bother you at work," I said. "Quick question. That Sunday back in August when you and Jake went hiking, which trail did you guys do? I'm trying to plan something similar." There was a pause. "August?" Connor said slowly. "What Sunday?" My stomach dropped. Like, the 18th, I think? You guys went hiking? Emma, I didn't go hiking with Jake in August. I was in San Diego that whole month. My sister's wedding, remember? Jake came to it with you. No. No. Right, I said quickly. Sorry, I'm thinking of a different trip. Never mind. I hung up before he could ask any more questions. I barely made it to the bathroom before I threw up. Jake had lied to me. He'd lied about where he was that Sunday. He'd gone to a hospital instead, and there was a baby onesie in his car. The math was starting to add up, and I fucking hated the answer. I finished my shift on autopilot. I don't even remember driving home. I just remember pulling into our driveway and seeing Jake's car already there and feeling this wave of rage so intense I could barely see straight. I walked inside. Jake was in the kitchen, making dinner. He turned and smiled when I came in. Hey, I'm making that chicken thing you like. Should be ready in like 20 minutes. I dropped my bag on the floor. Whose baby onesie is in your glove compartment? I hadn't planned to blurt it out like that. But there it was. The question that had been eating at me for 24 hours. Jake froze. The color drained from his face so fast I thought he might pass out. What? The pink onesie with elephants on it. In your glove compartment. Whose is it? He just stared at me. His mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. Jake! My voice was shaking now. Tell me what's going on. He set down the spatula very carefully, took a deep breath. Emma, Fuck. Okay, I need you to sit down. I don't want to sit down. I want you to tell me the truth. Please, just sit. Something in his voice made me listen. I sat at the kitchen table. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. Jake sat across from me. He wouldn't meet my eyes. The onesie, he said quietly, is for my daughter. The world tilted. Your what? I have a daughter. She'll be 2 in December. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process what he was saying. You have a daughter. My voice didn't sound like mine. You have a fucking daughter and you never told me? Emma? How? How the fuck do you have a daughter that I don't know about? Where is she? Who's the mother? What the actual fuck, Jake? He was crying now. Actually crying. I'd never seen Jake cry before. Her name was Sarah, he said. My ex. We dated for 3 years before you and I met. She got pregnant right before we broke up. I didn't know. She didn't tell me. We weren't on good terms when we split. Past tense. Her name was Sarah. What do you mean was? Jake covered his face with his hands. She died. Sarah died in childbirth. She had complications and she didn't make it. Oh my God. Her family didn't tell me until the baby was 3 months old, he continued, his voice breaking. They didn't think I deserved to know. We'd had a really bad breakup. They thought I'd abandoned her. But I didn't know, Emma. I swear to God I didn't know she was pregnant. I felt like I was underwater. Everything was muffled and wrong. You have a daughter, I repeated. Where is she? With Sarah's parents. They have custody. They didn't want me involved. They blamed me for Sarah's death, said the stress of the breakup and being a single mom contributed to her complications. We went to court. I fought for custody, but they won. They're her legal guardians. But you see her? I have visitation every other weekend, and they let me. Sometimes I take her things, clothes and toys. That's what the onesie is. I bought it last week. Haven't given it to them yet. My brain was trying to catch up. Every other weekend, I said slowly. So all those times you said you were working on Saturday mornings? I was seeing Lily, my daughter. Her name is Lily. Lily. He had a daughter named Lily and I had no fucking idea. Why didn't you tell me? I was crying now too. Jake, we moved in together. We've been talking about getting married. How could you not tell me you have a child? I tried. His voice cracked. I tried to tell you so many times, but early on it felt too heavy for a new relationship, and then time kept passing and it got harder and harder to bring up. And I was scared, Emma. I was terrified you'd leave if you knew. So you just lied? For 18 months? I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you. That's the same fucking thing. I was screaming now. You lied by omission every single day. Every time you said you were working or running errands or whatever bullshit excuse you gave me instead of saying, I'm going to see my daughter. I know, and I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this, Jake. We sat there in horrible silence. The kitchen timer went off. The chicken was done, but neither of us moved. That hospital receipt, I said finally. Providence Medical Center, 3 months ago. He nodded miserably. Lily had a fever. Sarah's mom called me, panicking. They took her to the ER. I met them there. She was fine, just a virus. But I was there for 6 hours. The Sunday I missed Morgan's brunch. The Sunday he said he was hiking with Connor. You lied to my face about where you were. Yes. At least he wasn't denying it anymore. Is there anything else? I asked. Any other massive secrets you've been keeping from me? Any other children I should know about? No. Emma, I swear, it's just Lily. Just Lily. Like having a secret child was no big deal. I stood up. My legs felt weak, but I needed to not be sitting anymore. I need to leave. Emma, please. No. I need to leave right now before I say something I can't take back. I grabbed my keys and my phone and walked out. I drove to my sister Rachel's apartment. Didn't call ahead, just showed up on her doorstep at 8 p.m., sobbing so hard I could barely speak. She took one look at me and pulled me inside. That was 2 days ago. I've been staying here ever since. Jake's been texting me constantly, calling. I haven't responded to anything. I don't know what to say. I don't even know what I'm feeling. Anger, betrayal, heartbreak, all mixed together until I can't tell them apart anymore. Rachel's been amazing. She's let me cry and rage and then cry some more. She's made me eat even when I didn't want to. She's stopped me from drunk texting Jake approximately 17 times. Do you want my honest opinion? She asked this morning over coffee. Not really, but you're going to give it to me anyway. What he did was fucked up. Completely, inexcusably fucked up. But I also get why he was scared to tell you. I stared at her. Seriously? I'm not saying he was right. I'm saying I understand the fear. Think about it. He meets you, you're amazing, things are going great. How does he bring up, oh, by the way, I have a daughter with my dead ex-girlfriend and her family hates me? That's not exactly first date material. He had 18 months to tell me, Rachel. 18 months. I know. And every day that passed made it harder. It's like the relationship equivalent of compound interest. The lie just kept getting bigger. I knew she was right, but I didn't want to admit it. I don't know if I can trust him again, I said quietly. That's fair. That's completely fair. But Emma, do you love him? I don't know anymore. I thought I did. But I loved the version of Jake who was honest with me. I don't know who this Jake is. The one who could look me in the eye every day and hide something this massive. Rachel squeezed my hand. You don't have to decide anything right now. Take the time you need. Figure out what you want. And whatever you decide, I've got your back. I nodded, but I knew I couldn't hide at Rachel's forever. Yesterday afternoon, I finally responded to Jake's texts. Me. I need time. Don't contact me unless it's an emergency. I'll let you know when I'm ready to talk. Jake. Okay, I love you. I'm so sorry. I didn't respond to that. Last night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Lily, this little girl I didn't know existed. Jake's daughter, almost 2 years old. I pulled out my phone and did something probably stupid. I searched for Sarah's obituary. I found it on the Providence Medical Center memorial page. Sarah Chen, 28 years old. Died December 2023 from childbirth complications. Survived by her parents, Margaret and David Chen, and her infant daughter. There was a photo. She was beautiful. Long dark hair, bright smile, looked so young and full of life. She died bringing Lily into the world, and Jake had dated her for 3 years. Had loved her. Had lost her in the worst way possible. I started crying again. For Sarah, who never got to watch her daughter grow up. For Lily, who would never know her mother. For Jake, who'd lost someone he loved and then been shut out of his own child's life. And for me, for the relationship I thought I had that turned out to be built on a foundation of lies. But something was still bothering me. Something didn't add up. I pulled up Jake's text messages on my phone. We share a phone plan, so I have access to the account. I'd never looked before because I trusted him. Stupid, I know. I scrolled back through the months. Most of his texts were to me or to Connor or to his coworkers, normal stuff. But there were texts to an unsaved number, dozens of them. Starting about a year ago, I opened the thread. Jake. Can I please see her this weekend? Unknown. No, we've been over this. Jake. She's my daughter. I have rights. Unknown. You have supervised visitation every other Saturday. That's it. Jake. I want more time with her. Unknown. Then you shouldn't have abandoned Sarah when she needed you most. Jake. I didn't know she was pregnant. How many times do I have to say that? Unknown. It doesn't matter. She's better off without you. The messages went on like that. Jake begging for more time with Lily. This person, probably Sarah's mom, refusing. It was heartbreaking. But then I scrolled to the more recent messages, from about 2 months ago. Jake. Thank you for letting me take her to the park yesterday. She loved the swings. Unknown. She talked about you all evening. It made her very confused. Jake. I'm her father. She should know who I am. Unknown. We've told her about you. That's enough. Jake. It's not enough. I love her. Unknown. If you loved her, you'd stop disrupting her life. Jesus Christ. These people were really freezing him out. I felt a confusing twist of sympathy for Jake. But then I remembered. He could have told me about all of this. He chose not to. I kept scrolling. And then I found something that made my blood run cold. A text from just 2 weeks ago. Jake. I told her. I told Emma about Lily. Wait, what? Unknown. You told your girlfriend about Lily? Jake. Yes, she deserves to know. We're building a life together. Unknown. And? Jake. She was upset at first, but she understands. She wants to meet Lily. Unknown. Absolutely not. Jake. Margaret, please. Emma's going to be part of Lily's life. We're getting engaged. Unknown. No. If you bring this woman around our granddaughter, we'll go back to court and petition to remove your visitation entirely. Do you understand me? Jake. You can't do that. Unknown. Try us. I read those messages 3 times. Jake had texted Sarah's mom 2 weeks ago saying he'd told me about Lily. But he hadn't. He'd lied to Sarah's family about telling me, just like he'd lied to me about Lily's existence in the first place. Why the fuck would he do that? Unless... oh God. Unless he was planning to tell me but chickened out. And then lied to Sarah's mom to buy himself time, or to make her think he was being honest with me. This was so much worse than I thought. I took screenshots of everything and texted them to myself. Then I called Jake. He answered on the first ring. Emma? You told Margaret Chen that you told me about Lily, I said. No hello. No preamble. 2 weeks ago, you texted her saying I knew everything and wanted to meet Lily. Silence. Emma, I can explain. You lied to me, and you lied to them. Jesus Christ, Jake, is there anyone you're being honest with? I was going to tell you. His voice was desperate. I swear, I was planning to tell you that weekend. I had this whole thing planned. I was going to take you to dinner and explain everything. But then you got called in for an emergency shift, and the timing never felt right, and so you just lied to Sarah's mom instead? What the fuck? She was pressuring me. She said if I was serious about you, I needed to tell you about Lily. So I said I did. I was buying time so I could figure out the right way to bring it up. There's no right way to tell your girlfriend you've been hiding a child for 18 months, Jake. I know that now. Do you? Because it seems like you still don't get how fucked up this is. I was pacing Rachel's living room now, trying to keep my voice down so I wouldn't wake her up. I know I fucked up, Jake said. He was crying again. I know I should have told you from the beginning. But Emma, I love you. I want to marry you. I want us to build a life together. And I want Lily to be part of that life. Well, you've done a great job of making that impossible. It's not impossible. We can fix this. How? How do we fix this? You've lied to me for our entire relationship. How do I ever trust you again? I don't know, but I want to try. Please, Emma, let me try. I closed my eyes. Part of me wanted to forgive him, wanted to go home and work through this and figure it out, because I had loved him. And maybe I still did, underneath all the anger and hurt, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was still more to this story. I need to see proof, I said finally. Proof of what? Everything. The custody arrangement, visitation papers. I need to see that what you're telling me is actually real. Emma, if you want any chance of fixing this, you'll show me everything. No more secrets. He was quiet for a long moment. Okay, he said finally. Okay, come home. I'll show you everything. Tomorrow, I said. I'll come by tomorrow after work. I'll be here. Emma, thank you for giving me a chance. I hung up without responding. I didn't sleep at all that night. I just kept thinking about those texts. About Jake lying to everyone. About Lily, this little girl caught in the middle of all this mess. I worked my shift the next day in a fog. I kept checking my phone, half expecting Jake to text me some excuse about why he couldn't show me the papers. But he didn't. At 6 p.m., I drove to our apartment, our home. The place that had felt so safe and comfortable just a week ago and now felt like hostile territory. Jake was waiting for me. He looked terrible, unshaven, bags under his eyes, wearing the same clothes he'd had on in our last video call. "Hey," he said softly. "Hi." We stood there, awkwardly for a moment. Then he gestured to the kitchen table. I pulled everything out. It's all there. Walked over. There was a manila folder on the table, stuffed with papers. I sat down and started reading. Custody agreement between Jake Morrison and Margaret and David Chen, legal guardians of Lily Sarah Chen, dated March 2024. Jake got supervised visitation every other Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. No overnight visits. All visits to take place at the Chen residence or in public spaces. Sarah's parents had final say on all medical, educational, and religious decisions. It was brutal. Jake basically had no rights to his own kid. There were also medical records, Lily's birth certificate listing Jake as father, hospital bills from Sarah's delivery and subsequent complications, her death certificate, it was all real. "The hospital receipt," I said without looking up, "from August. Show me Lily's medical records from that day." Jake pulled out his phone and showed me. Emergency room visit for Lily Chen. High fever, diagnosed with viral infection, discharged same day. It matched his story. "And you have photos? Of Lily?" He hesitated. "Margaret doesn't like me taking photos. She's worried I'll post them online or something. But I have a few." He showed me his phone. There were maybe a dozen photos, taken covertly. Lily on a swing set, Lily eating a cookie, Lily playing with blocks. A beautiful little girl with dark hair and Jake's eyes. Seeing her face made everything suddenly horribly real. This was his daughter. "She looks like you," I said quietly. "She has Sarah's smile." We sat there in silence for a while. "I need to ask you something," I said finally, "and I need you to be completely honest with me." "Anything. Is there any chance at all, that Sarah's family is right? That you did abandon her?" Jake's face crumpled. "No, Emma, I swear. Sarah broke up with me. She said she needed space, that we wanted different things. I tried to fight for the relationship, but she was done. We stopped talking. I didn't know she was pregnant. I would never have walked away if I'd known." "But you two had a bad breakup." "Yeah, we did. We said some awful things to each other. I'm not proud of how I acted, but I didn't abandon her. I moved on. And then 9 months later, I get a call from her mom saying Sarah died, and I have a daughter, and they hate me, and I'm the worst person alive." He was crying again. "I lost someone I loved, found out I'm a father, and got shut out of my kid's life all in the same week. And then I met you, and you were this light in all the darkness. And I was so scared of losing you too that I made everything worse." I wanted to comfort him, but I couldn't move. "The onesie," I said, "the one in your car. I bought it last weekend. I was going to take it to Margaret's house tomorrow, during my next visit. Why was it still in your car?" He looked down. "Because I've been too scared to go to their house since I told Margaret I'd told you about Lily. I was worried she'd ask about you, want to meet you. And I'd have to admit, I lied to her too." Jesus Christ. "So you just carry baby clothes around in your car?" "I know how it sounds." "It sounds insane, Jake." "I know." I stood up. I couldn't sit anymore. "I need to think," I said. "This is too much. It's all too much. Emma, please don't leave." "I'm not leaving. I just need space to process this." He nodded miserably. I walked toward the door. My hand was on the knob when I turned back. "Can I ask one more thing?" "Anything." "Do you still love Sarah?" He looked startled. "She's dead, Emma." "That's not what I asked." He was quiet for a long time. "Part of me will always love her," he said finally. "She was my first serious relationship, the mother of my daughter. But I'm not in love with her. I'm in love with you." I nodded. I didn't know if I believed him, but I nodded. "I'll call you tomorrow," I said. And I left. I went back to Rachel's, told her everything. She listened without interrupting, which I appreciated because I needed to just get it all out. "So what are you going to do?" she asked when I was done. "I don't know. Part of me wants to forgive him. He's not a bad person. He just made a terrible decision, and then kept making worse decisions to cover it up. But I don't know if I can get past this. Every time I look at him, I'm going to wonder what else he's lying about. Every time he goes out, I'm going to wonder if he's really where he says he is. That's not a relationship. That's a nightmare." "That's fair." "And there's Lily. If Jake and I stay together, I'll be part of her life. I'll be a stepmother to a child whose grandmother hates Jake and will probably hate me by extension. Can I handle that?" "Only you can answer that." I spent the next few days in a weird limbo, going to work, staying at Rachel's, thinking constantly about Jake and Lily and what the fuck I was supposed to do. Jake texted me every day. Nothing pushy, just, Jake, thinking about you. Jake, I hope you're okay. Jake, I love you. I didn't respond. I didn't know what to say. Then 5 days after our conversation, I got a text from an unknown number. Unknown. Is this Emma, Jake's girlfriend? My stomach dropped. Me. Who is this? Unknown. This is Margaret Chen, Lily's grandmother. I need to speak with you. It's urgent. Oh, shit. Me. How did you get my number? Unknown. From Jake's phone. Please, I need to talk to you about my granddaughter. Can we meet? Every instinct screamed at me to say no, to block this number and pretend this text never happened. But I couldn't, because as angry as I was at Jake, I needed to know what this woman had to say. Me. When and where? We met the next morning at a coffee shop downtown. I got there early, ordered a latte I didn't drink, sat in a corner booth, and waited. Margaret Chen walked in exactly on time. She was in her early 60s, well-dressed, with Sarah's dark hair shot through with gray. She looked tired. She spotted me immediately. I'd told her I'd be wearing a blue scarf and walked over. Emma? Yes, Margaret? She nodded and sat down. We looked at each other for a moment. I didn't know what to say. This was the woman who'd been keeping Jake from his daughter, but she was also a grieving mother who'd lost her child. Thank you for meeting me, she said finally. You said it was urgent. It is. She took a breath. I need to tell you the truth about Jake, about what really happened with Sarah. My heart started pounding. Okay. Jake told you that Sarah broke up with him and didn't tell him she was pregnant, that he had no idea until after she died. Yes. That's not exactly true. The coffee shop seemed to tilt. What do you mean? Margaret pulled out her phone and started scrolling through old text messages. Sarah did break up with Jake, but she found out she was pregnant 2 weeks later, and she told him. She turned her phone to show me. Sarah. I'm pregnant. Jake. What? Sarah. I'm pregnant. I took 3 tests. They're all positive. Jake. Are you sure it's mine? Sarah. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Jake. I'm just asking. We weren't exactly exclusive at the end. Sarah. Yes, we were. You're the only person I've been with. Jake. Okay. What do you want to do? Sarah. I'm keeping it. Jake. Sarah, we just broke up. I don't think this is a good idea. Sarah. I don't care what you think. This is my decision. Jake. If you keep it, you're on your own. I'm not ready to be a father. Sarah. Fine. I don't need you. I felt sick reading those messages. He knew, I whispered. He knew she was pregnant. Yes, he knew. And he told her he wanted nothing to do with the baby. Sarah was heartbroken, but she was determined to do it on her own. My husband and I supported her. We were going to help her raise the baby. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. But then she had complications during delivery. Placental abruption. She hemorrhaged. They did an emergency C-section, but it was too late. She died an hour after Lily was born. I'm so sorry, I said. And I meant it. Jake showed up at the hospital 3 days later, crying, saying he'd made a mistake, that he wanted to be involved, that he loved Sarah and wanted to raise his daughter. But he'd walked away when she was alive. Exactly. I told him no. I told him he'd made his choice when Sarah needed him most, that he didn't get to suddenly decide he wanted to be a father now that Sarah was gone and couldn't hold him accountable. But he got visitation anyway. He took us to court. The judge said that because he's Lily's biological father and hadn't legally terminated his rights, he was entitled to see her, so we got supervised visitation, the bare minimum. Margaret leaned forward. Emma, I don't know what Jake has told you, but he is not a victim in this situation. He abandoned my daughter when she was pregnant. He only came back when she was dead, and it was convenient for him to play grieving father. I couldn't speak, couldn't process what she was telling me. Why are you telling me this? I asked finally. Because you deserve to know who you're with. Jake is good at playing the victim. He's good at making people feel sorry for him. But the truth is, he's a coward who runs away when things get hard. She stood up. I need to go. But Emma, be careful. If he hid this from you for 18 months, what else is he capable of hiding? She left before I could respond. I sat there for a long time, staring at nothing, trying to make sense of what I'd just learned. Jake had lied to me, not just about Lily's existence, but about the circumstances. He'd painted himself as a victim, a devoted father shut out of his daughter's life by vindictive grandparents. But the reality was, he'd walked away from his pregnant ex-girlfriend and only came back when she was dead. Was Margaret telling the truth? Or was this her version of events, colored by grief and anger? I needed to see those text messages for myself. I drove home. Jake's car was in the driveway. He was probably working from home. I walked inside. He was at his desk in the living room, on a video call. He saw me and his face lit up. He held up one finger, 1 minute, and I nodded. I stood there, waiting, trying to look normal while my entire world was crumbling. He finished his call and turned to me. "Emma, I didn't think you were coming by today. This is a good surprise." "I need to see your phone," I said. The smile faded. "What?" "Your phone. I need to see your text messages with Sarah." "Emma?" "Now, Jake." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he unlocked his phone and handed it over. I searched for Sarah's name. The conversation history started 2 years ago. Normal relationship stuff at first, then the breakup conversation, which matched what he'd told me. Sarah saying they wanted different things, Jake trying to change her mind. But the messages Margaret showed me weren't there. The pregnancy announcement, Jake's response, Sarah saying she was keeping the baby, Jake saying he wanted nothing to do with it. All of it was gone. "Where are they?" I asked. "Where are what?" "The messages about the pregnancy. About Sarah telling you she was pregnant and you saying you wanted nothing to do with the baby." His face went white. There aren't any messages like that." "Don't fucking lie to me anymore," I was shouting now. "I met with Margaret this morning. She showed me the messages. I know you knew about the pregnancy. I know you walked away. So where the fuck are they?" Jake sat down heavily. "I deleted them," he said quietly. "When?" "After Sarah died. Her family was so angry at me. I was afraid they'd use the messages in court to take away my parental rights completely. So, deleted them from my phone. I didn't know Sarah had screenshots." "Jesus Christ, Jake. I know how bad this looks. You lied to me. You told me you didn't know Sarah was pregnant. You said you would never have walked away if you'd known. But you did know. And you walked away anyway." "I was scared." He stood up, agitated. "I was 27 years old. Sarah and I had just broken up. I wasn't ready to be a father. I panicked. I said things I didn't mean." "You told her she was on her own." "I know, and I regret it every single day. But Emma, people make mistakes. I was young and stupid and scared. I would take it back if I could. But you can't. And Sarah's dead. And you've spent 2 years lying to everyone about what happened." "I didn't lie." "Yes, you did. You lied to Sarah's parents. You lied to me. You probably lied to yourself so much you started believing your own bullshit." I was crying now, full-on sobbing. "I loved you," I said. "I really fucking loved you. And I was ready to work through this. The secret daughter, the lies, all of it. Because I thought you'd made a mistake out of fear. But this is who you are. Someone who runs away when things get hard. Someone who rewrites history to make himself the victim." "Emma, please. We're done." "No, Emma, please. Let me explain." "There's nothing to explain. You abandoned your pregnant girlfriend. You came back after she died because it was easy to be a father to a baby who couldn't hold you accountable. And you lied to me about it for 18 months. I love you." "I don't care." I threw his phone at him. "I don't care if you love me. Love isn't enough when it's built on lies." I started grabbing my things. My books from the coffee table, my blanket from the couch, my photos from the walls. "What are you doing?" Jake asked. "Getting my stuff. I'll come back for the rest later when you're not here." "Emma, please, don't do this. We can work through this." "No, we can't. Because I'll never trust you again. Every word out of your mouth will be suspect. That's not a relationship. That's a prison." I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. "I'm sorry," Jake was crying. "I'm so fucking sorry. I made a mistake. I was scared and stupid and I made a mistake. But I love you. I love you so much. Please don't leave." I stopped at the door and turned back. "You want to know the worst part?" I said. "It's not even that you lied. It's that you let me fall in love with a version of you that doesn't exist. The Jake I loved was honest, brave, someone who took responsibility for his actions. But that person was never real. Was he?" He didn't answer. "Goodbye, Jake." I walked out. I drove to Rachel's apartment and I cried for 3 hours straight. She held me and brought me tissues and told me I'd done the right thing. And I knew I had. I knew it was over. but it still fucking hurt. That was a week ago. I've been staying with Rachel ever since. Jake's texted me a few times, but I haven't responded. I blocked him yesterday. I went back to the apartment while he was at work and got the rest of my stuff. Left my key on the kitchen counter. Took Dumpling with me because fuck him. I'm not leaving my cat in that apartment of lies. I've been thinking a lot about Sarah. About this woman I never met who died bringing Lily into the world. About how she told the father of her baby that she was pregnant and he said she was on her own. About how scared she must have been. I've also been thinking about Lily. She's almost 2 years old. She has no idea her father is a coward. No idea that he abandoned her mother and only came back when it was convenient. Margaret was right. Jake is good at playing the victim. He told me a story where he was the wronged party, the devoted father kept from his child by cruel grandparents. But the reality is he's reaping what he sowed. I'm angry, I'm heartbroken, I'm relieved. I'm all of it at once. But mostly I'm grateful I found that onesie. Because if I hadn't, I might have married him. I might have spent years building a life with someone who was fundamentally dishonest, who ran when things got hard. And yeah, it hurts now. It hurts like hell. But better to hurt now than to invest more years into a lie. Rachel asked me this morning if I regret the relationship. No, I said. I learned what I don't want. That's valuable too. She hugged me. You're going to be okay, she said. And I think she's right. I'm going to be okay. But here's the thing that's been eating at me. The thing I can't stop thinking about. Yesterday, I got a text from Margaret. Margaret. I heard you and Jake broke up. I'm sorry. Me. Thank you for telling me the truth. Margaret. You deserve to know. But Emma, there's something else. Can we meet again? We met this morning. Same coffee shop. Margaret looked nervous. More nervous than last time. What is it? I asked. She took a deep breath. I need to show you something. She pulled out her phone and opened a photo. It was a picture of a woman, young, pretty, blonde, holding a baby. Who is this? I asked. Her name is Vanessa. She was at Lily's birthday party last month. Okay. She's Jake's girlfriend. The world stopped. What? Jake has been seeing someone else for at least 6 months. He brings her to visit Lily. I couldn't breathe. That's impossible. Jake and I live together. I would know if... He told me you two broke up last spring, that you wanted different things. He's been bringing Vanessa around since July. Last spring. July. No, I said. No, that's not possible. Jake and I have been together this whole time. Margaret showed me another photo. Jake and Vanessa at a park, pushing Lily on a swing. Timestamp from August. The weekend he said he was visiting Lily. Another photo. Jake and Vanessa at the zoo with Lily. September. Another. October. November. He's been living a double life, Margaret said quietly. You and Vanessa both think you're his girlfriend. He's been lying to everyone. I thought I was going to be sick. Does Vanessa know about me? I don't know. I didn't want to interfere, but after talking to you, I thought you should know. She pulled out a piece of paper with a phone number on it. This is Vanessa's number, if you want to talk to her. I took the paper with shaking hands. I'm sorry, Margaret said. I know this is a lot, but you seem like a good person. You didn't deserve any of this. I nodded numbly. We said goodbye and I went back to my car and I just sat there for a while. Jake had another girlfriend, while we were living together, while we were talking about getting engaged, while I was falling in love with him. He wasn't just a liar, he was fucking sociopathic. I pulled out my phone and I texted Vanessa. Me. Hi, my name is Emma. I think we need to talk about Jake Morrison. 3 dots appeared immediately. Vanessa. Who is this? Me. I'm Jake's girlfriend, or I was until last week. Margaret Chen gave me your number. Vanessa. I don't understand. Jake told me you two broke up months ago. Me. We didn't. We were living together, up until last week when I found out about his daughter and left him. A long pause. Vanessa. What daughter? Oh my God, he hadn't told her about Lily either. Me. Can we meet? Vanessa. Yes, we met that afternoon. Vanessa was 26, a kindergarten teacher. Sweet, normal. Exactly the kind of woman you'd want dating your boyfriend, except he was my boyfriend too. We sat in her apartment and compared notes. She met Jake in June at a friend's party. He said he was recently single, heartbroken over a bad breakup, but ready to move on. They started dating. He was charming, attentive, told her he worked in tech and did freelance consulting on weekends. Those consulting weekends. He was with me. The evenings he said he was working late? He was with her. He told me he loved me, Vanessa said, tears streaming down her face. We were talking about moving in together. He told me he wanted to marry me, I said. We sat there crying together, two women who'd been dating the same man without knowing it. There's more, I said finally. He has a daughter, almost 2 years old, with his ex who died in childbirth. Vanessa's eyes went wide. What? I told her everything, about Sarah, about Lily, about Margaret and the custody battle, and the lies upon lies upon lies. Oh my God, she kept saying. Oh my God. We decided to call him, together, on speakerphone. Vanessa dialed. I sat next to her, my heart pounding. He answered on the second ring. Hey, babe. He sounded happy, cheerful. I was just thinking about you. Hey, Vanessa said. Her voice was steady. I'm here with someone who wants to talk to you. What? Who? Hi, Jake, I said. Silence. Then, Emma? Yeah, Emma, your girlfriend. Or one of them, anyway. What are you doing with Vanessa? Comparing notes. Turns out we have a lot in common. We're both dating a lying sack of shit. More silence. Jake, Vanessa said, when were you going to tell me about Emma? Or about your daughter? I can explain. Don't, I said. Don't try to explain. Don't try to lie your way out of this. It's over. For both of us. Emma, please. No, you're a coward and a liar, and I hope Sarah's family never lets you near Lily again because you don't deserve to be anyone's father. I hung up. Vanessa and I sat there for a moment. Then she started laughing. Through her tears, she was laughing. What? I asked. I can't believe this is my life. I can't believe this is real. I started laughing too, because what else could we do? We exchanged numbers, promised to keep in touch, agreed that we'd both blocked Jake and were never speaking to him again. And then I left. I'm back at Rachel's now. It's 2 a.m. I can't sleep. Tomorrow I need to figure out my next steps, find a new apartment, maybe get a therapist, definitely adopt another cat so Dumpling has a friend. But tonight I'm just sitting here, processing everything. 18 months of my life, gone. Given to a man who didn't deserve a single day of it. But I got out. That's what matters. I found the onesie. I asked the questions. I didn't accept the first layer of lies or the second or the third. And now I'm free. It doesn't feel like freedom yet. It feels like grief. But I know it will get better. It has to. Because the alternative is staying with someone who looked me in the eye every single day and lied. And I deserve better than that. We all do. Update. Because people keep asking. I called Margaret this morning and told her about Vanessa. About everything. She wasn't surprised. I suspected he was still with you, she said. He kept making excuses for why he couldn't bring you to meet Lily. Said you were working, or sick, or busy. It never added up. I'm sorry, I said. I'm sorry for all of it. You have nothing to apologize for. You were lied to. Just like Vanessa. Just like Sarah. What are you going to do? About his visitation? She was quiet for a moment. I'm going back to court. I'm going to petition to have it revoked completely. He's lied to everyone about everything. He's not stable enough to be in Lily's life. Part of me felt bad, because Lily will grow up without knowing her father, but a bigger part of me felt relieved, because that little girl deserves better than Jake Morrison. We all do. So that's it. That's my story. The story of how I found a baby onesie in my boyfriend's glove compartment and uncovered lie after lie after lie until the entire relationship collapsed like a house of cards. I'm not okay yet, but I will be. And to anyone reading this who's found something that doesn't add up in their relationship, ask the questions. Dig deeper. Don't accept easy answers, because the truth, no matter how painful, is better than living in a lie. Trust me on that. I blocked Jake on everything. Phone, social media, email, even Venmo, because I didn't want to see his name pop up accidentally when I was splitting bills with friends. But blocking someone doesn't make them disappear. 2 days after the phone call with Vanessa, I came home from a late shift to find Jake sitting on the steps outside Rachel's apartment building. What the fuck are you doing here? I said. He stood up quickly. He looked terrible. Worse than before, like he hadn't slept or showered in days. I needed to see you. You blocked me everywhere. Yeah, that was intentional. Emma, please, just hear me out. No. I tried to walk past him, but he stepped in front of me. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Get out of my way, Jake. I'm sick. I stopped. What? I'm sick. I have been for a while. That's why everything got so fucked up. I stared at him. Are you seriously trying to use a medical condition as an excuse for being a lying piece of shit? It's not an excuse. It's an explanation. I have a brain tumor. The words hung in the air between us. You have a what? A brain tumor. I found out 6 months ago. It's been affecting my judgment, my decision-making. The doctor said it could cause personality changes, impulsivity, lying. Stop. I held up my hand. Just stop. I'm not doing this. It's true. I can show you the medical records. I don't care if it's true. You don't get to drop a fucking cancer diagnosis on me and expect me to forgive you. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to understand. I understand perfectly. You're a liar who will say anything to manipulate people into giving you what you want. And right now, you want me to feel sorry for you, so I'll take you back. Emma? No, I was shouting now. You don't get to do this. You lied to me for 18 months. You had another girlfriend. You abandoned your pregnant ex. You don't get to wave a medical diagnosis around like it erases all of that. I'm dying. His voice was so quiet I almost didn't hear it. What? I'm dying. The tumor is inoperable. I have maybe a year, probably less. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. I don't believe you. I'll show you. No. Because even if it's true, it doesn't change anything. You still lied. You still hurt people. And I'm not going to stand here and let you use your illness to manipulate me. I pushed past him and went inside. He didn't follow. I stood in the stairwell, shaking, waiting to hear his footsteps walking away. They never came. I pulled out my phone and called Rachel. Can you come home? Jake's outside and I don't know if he's going to leave. She was there in 15 minutes. We looked out the window together. Jake was still sitting on the steps, head in his hands. Should we call the police? Rachel asked. I don't know. He's not technically doing anything illegal. We watched him for another 20 minutes. Finally, he stood up and walked away. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about what he'd said. A brain tumor. Was it true, or was it just another lie in a long line of lies? The next morning, I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I called Jake's mom. I'd met Patricia Morrison twice. Once at a family barbecue, once at Christmas. She was nice, warm, the kind of mom who still packed her adult son's favorite cookies when he visited. She answered on the third ring. Emma, sweetie, how are you? Hi, Patricia. I'm okay. How are you? Oh, busy with the grandkids. Jake's sister just had her second, so I've been helping out. She didn't know. Jake hadn't told his own mother that we'd broken up. Patricia, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Of course. What's wrong? Does Jake have a brain tumor? Silence. What? No. Why would you think that? He told me he does. He said he found out 6 months ago, and it's inoperable. Emma, that's not true. Jake doesn't have a tumor. He had some headaches a few months ago and got an MRI, but it came back completely clear. I closed my eyes. Of course he was lying. Thank you, I said quietly. Emma, what's going on? Are you two okay? We broke up, Patricia. I found out Jake has been lying to me about a lot of things. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Do you want to talk about it? Not right now, but thank you. You've been really kind to me. We said goodbye and I hung up. He'd lied about having cancer. He'd looked me in the eye and told me he was dying to try to manipulate me into taking him back. I thought I'd hit the bottom of Jake's depravity, but apparently there was no bottom. Just layers and layers of lies, each one worse than the last. I texted Vanessa. Me. Did Jake ever tell you he has a brain tumor? Vanessa. What? Vanessa. No. Does he? Me. No. I just confirmed with his mom. He lied about having cancer to try to get me to take him back. Vanessa. Jesus fucking Christ. Vanessa. This man is actually insane. Me. Yeah. Vanessa. I'm sorry. I know we barely know each other, but I'm really sorry you had to deal with all of this. Me. Same to you. How are you holding up? Vanessa. Not great. I keep going through our relationship in my head trying to figure out what was real and what was bullshit. It's exhausting. Me. I know exactly what you mean. We texted for a while, compared more notes, found more inconsistencies in Jake's stories to each of us. Vanessa said Jake told her his parents were dead, that he was an only child, that he grew up in foster care. None of it was true. His parents were alive and well. He had 2 sisters. He grew up in a comfortable middle-class home in the suburbs. Why would he lie about that? Vanessa asked when we met for coffee later that day. I think he likes being the victim, I said. It gets people to sympathize with him, feel protective of him, let things slide they normally wouldn't. That's so fucked up. Yeah. We sat in silence for a moment. Can I ask you something? Vanessa said. Of course. Do you think he ever actually loved either of us? Or was it all just an act? I'd been asking myself the same question. I don't know, I admitted. I think he loved what we represented. The idea of having someone who believed in him, who made him feel like a good person, but I don't think he's capable of actually loving anyone more than he loves himself. Vanessa nodded slowly. I keep thinking about all the times he said he loved me, all the times he looked at me with those puppy dog eyes and told me I was the best thing that ever happened to him. Was he saying the same things to you? Probably, word for word. It makes me feel sick. Me too. We finished our coffee and Vanessa had to leave for work. We hugged goodbye, this weird trauma bond hug between two women who'd been dating the same sociopath. I went back to Rachel's apartment. She was at work, so I had the place to myself. I sat on her couch with my laptop, and I did something I'd been avoiding. I Googled Jake. I don't know what I was looking for. Some explanation? Some history that would make all of this make sense? What I found was worse. There was a Reddit post from 3 years ago, posted by a throwaway account in a relationship advice subreddit. My boyfriend, a 20-vem, has been lying to me, 24 about having a job. I just found out he's been pretending to go to work for 6 months. The post described a relationship with someone who sounded exactly like Jake. The timeline matched. This would have been before Sarah. The details were vague enough that I couldn't be 100% sure it was him. But then I found another post, different throwaway account, different subreddit, 2 years earlier. I think my boyfriend is catfishing multiple women online while we're together. And another one, 4 years ago. My ex convinced me to co-sign a lease and then stopped paying rent. Now I'm being sued. I sat there reading post after post. Different women, different situations, but the same pattern. Jake lying, manipulating, using people and discarding them when they caught on. This wasn't new behavior. This was who he was, who he'd always been. I'd just been too in love to see it. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Emma, this is David Chen, Margaret's husband. Oh, hi. I hope I'm not disturbing you. Margaret gave me your number. She said you might be willing to help us with something. Help with what? We're filing a petition to terminate Jake's parental rights, but we need evidence of his character, his pattern of deception. Margaret mentioned you might have information that could help. I thought about those Reddit posts, about Vanessa, about Sarah. I do, I said. I can help. We met the next day at their lawyer's office. Margaret, David, their attorney, a sharp woman named Jennifer Pack, and me. I brought everything. Screenshots of Jake's texts where he lied to Margaret about telling me about Lily. Screenshots of his texts with me. Vanessa's contact information. The Reddit posts I'd found. A statement from Jake's mother confirming he'd lied about having cancer. Jennifer went through it all methodically. This is good, she said. This establishes a clear pattern of deceptive behavior, lying to multiple romantic partners simultaneously, creating elaborate false narratives about his medical history, family background, relationship status. Will it be enough? Margaret asked. Combined with his initial abandonment of Sarah during her pregnancy? Yes. I think we have a strong case that Jake Morrison is not a fit parent and that continued contact with him would not be in Lily's best interest. I should have felt good about that, satisfied that I was helping protect a little girl from her toxic father. But mostly I just felt sad. Sad for Lily, who would grow up without a dad. Sad for Sarah, who died never knowing how much worse Jake would become. Sad for myself, for Vanessa, for all the women who'd believed Jake's lies. The hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks out. In the meantime, I had to figure out my life. I'd been staying with Rachel for almost a month. She'd been incredible, patient and supportive, and never once complaining about me taking over her guest room. But I needed my own place. I found a studio apartment in Southeast Portland. Small, but affordable. No memories of Jake attached to it. I signed the lease and moved in on a Saturday. Rachel helped me move my stuff. The furniture from the apartment I'd shared with Jake felt tainted somehow, so I left most of it. Started fresh with Craigslist finds and IKEA basics. It felt good, like I was building something new. Vanessa came by that evening with wine and Thai food. To new beginnings, she said, raising her glass. To never dating lying sociopaths again, I added. We drank to that. Can I tell you something weird? Vanessa said after her second glass of wine. Please. I kind of miss him, not the real him, but the version of him I thought existed. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. I miss that version too. Like, I know he's terrible. I know everything he told me was a lie, but I still have all these memories of times we laughed together or stayed up all night talking, and those memories feel real even though they weren't. They were real to us, I said. That's what makes it so fucked up. We experienced real emotions based on fake information. Exactly. We sat there for a while, eating pad thai and drinking wine and mourning relationships that never actually existed. Around 10 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Hello? Emma? It's Connor, Jake's friend. Oh God, not this. Hi, Connor. Listen, I know this is weird, and I know you probably don't want to hear from anyone associated with Jake right now, but I need to talk to you about something. Okay. Jake called me today. He's not doing well, like, really not well. I'm worried he might hurt himself. My stomach dropped. What did he say? He said he's lost everything, that everyone hates him, that there's no point in going on. Emma, I've known Jake since college. I've never heard him like this. Did you call the police or a crisis line? I tried. He hung up on me. You're blocked, right? He can't contact you? Yeah, I blocked him everywhere. Good. Keep it that way. I'm not calling to ask you to reach out to him. I'm calling to give you a heads up in case he tries to find another way to contact you. Thanks for the warning. Emma, I know he fucked up. I know he hurt you. But for what it's worth, I don't think he's dangerous. Just desperate and stupid. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. Fair point. Just be careful, okay? I will. I hung up and immediately felt guilty. What if Jake actually hurt himself? Would that be partially my fault for refusing to talk to him? No. No, I couldn't think like that. Jake's mental health was not my responsibility, especially not after what he'd put me through. I called Rachel. Connor just called me. He's worried Jake might be suicidal. Shit, what do you want to do? Nothing, right? Right. Jake is a grown man. He has friends and family. If he's really in crisis, they can help him. You are not responsible for managing his mental health. But what if? No what ifs. You cannot set yourself on fire to keep Jake Morrison warm, especially not after everything he's done. She was right. I knew she was right, but I still didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I texted Connor. Me. Is Jake okay? Connor. Yeah, he's at his sister's place. She's keeping an eye on him. Me. Good. Connor. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. About all of it. I had no idea what he was doing. Me. I know. Thanks for checking on him. Connor. You doing okay? Me. Getting there. The hearing was in 2 weeks. Jennifer called me to go over my testimony, what questions I'd be asked, how to stay calm and factual. Jake's lawyer is going to try to discredit you, she warned. They'll say you're a scorned ex-girlfriend with an axe to grind. I am a scorned ex-girlfriend with an axe to grind. She smiled. Yes, but we're going to focus on the facts, the documented lies, the pattern of behavior, not your feelings about being lied to. Got it. Vanessa is willing to testify too, and we have affidavits from several other women who've had negative experiences with Jake. The Reddit posts you found helped us track some of them down. Jesus, how many women had Jake hurt? The day of the hearing arrived. I put on my most professional outfit, a navy dress and blazer I usually wore to job interviews. I wanted to look credible, responsible, like someone whose testimony mattered. Rachel drove me to the courthouse. Vanessa met us there. So did Margaret and David. We waited in a conference room until we were called. You don't have to do this, Margaret said to me. I know this is hard. I want to, I said. Lily deserves better than Jake, and if my testimony helps make that happen, it's worth it. They called me in first. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Judge Reeves sat at the bench, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense expression. Jake sat at a table with his lawyer, a young guy in an ill-fitting suit who looked like he wished he was anywhere else. Jake didn't look at me when I walked in. I was sworn in and took the stand. Jennifer started with easy questions. How long had I dated Jake? When did I find out about Lily? What did Jake tell me about his relationship with Sarah? I answered calmly, sticking to the facts. Then Jake's lawyer stood up for cross-examination. Ms. Porter, isn't it true that you're angry at my client because he broke up with you? No. I broke up with him when I found out he'd been lying to me for 18 months. Lying about what, specifically? About having a daughter, about the circumstances of his daughter's mother's death, about his relationship history, about his medical history. Should I continue? The lawyer frowned. Did you ever consider that my client might have had good reasons for not immediately disclosing his daughter's existence? For 18 months? No. I can't think of a good reason to hide something that fundamental from a serious partner. What if he was protecting his daughter, protecting her from someone he didn't fully trust yet? Then he shouldn't have been in a serious relationship with me. If he didn't trust me enough to tell me about the most important person in his life, we had no business talking about marriage. Ah, yes, marriage. My client never actually proposed, did he? We discussed it extensively. He told me he wanted to propose next spring. Discussing something isn't the same as committing to it. Neither is lying to your partner for a year and a half. Judge Reeves interrupted. Counsel, move on. The lawyer switched tactics. Isn't it true that you've been working with Ms. Chen to gather negative information about my client? Yes, because Margaret asked for my help documenting Jake's pattern of deceptive behavior. So you have a vested interest in making my client look bad. I have a vested interest in keeping a little girl safe from a man who has proven repeatedly that he can't be trusted. That's not your decision to make. No, it's the judge's decision. I'm just providing information to help her make it. The lawyer looked frustrated. He asked a few more questions, but I could tell his heart wasn't in it. When I stepped down, I felt good, like I'd said what needed to be said. Vanessa testified next. She was nervous but clear, explained how Jake had lied to her about being single, about his family, about his entire life. Then Margaret testified, walked through Jake's abandonment of Sarah, his sudden reappearance after her death, the custody battle, his continued deception. Finally, Jennifer presented the evidence. The text messages, the affidavits from other women, the documentation of Jake's lies. It was damning. Jake's lawyer called him to the stand. He looked terrible, thin, pale, defeated. His lawyer asked him to explain his side. I made mistakes, Jake said quietly. I know that. I was young and scared when Sarah told me she was pregnant. I panicked. I said things I didn't mean, but I came back. When Sarah died, I came back. I wanted to be a father to Lily. And why didn't you tell Emma about Lily? I was scared of losing her. Emma was the best thing that had happened to me in years. I knew if she found out about Lily, about Sarah, about my mistakes, she'd leave. And I couldn't bear that. So I lied. I'm not proud of it, but I did it out of love. I wanted to scream. Out of love? He lied out of selfishness, out of cowardice. The judge asked Jake some questions directly. Mr. Morrison, you also misrepresented your medical history to Ms. Porter. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. Why? I was desperate. I thought if she believed I was sick, she'd give me another chance. Do you understand why that was inappropriate? Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor. Do you have any other children that you haven't disclosed? Jake hesitated. My heart stopped. Mr. Morrison? No, Your Honor, just Lily. But that hesitation, that tiny pause before he answered, he was lying. I could see it in his face, in the way he couldn't quite meet the judge's eyes. Oh my God, there was another child. The hearing ended. Judge Reeves said she'd issue her ruling within 2 weeks. We filed out of the courtroom. Jake tried to catch my eye, but I looked away. In the hallway, I grabbed Jennifer's arm. He's lying. About what? When the judge asked if he had other children, he hesitated. I think there's another kid somewhere that nobody knows about. Jennifer and Margaret exchanged looks. Can you prove it? Jennifer asked. No, but I know Jake. I know his tells. He was lying. I'll look into it, Jennifer said. But Emma, even if there is another child, I'm not sure it impacts this case. We're focused on his fitness as a parent to Lily. It shows a pattern, Margaret said. If there's another child he's hidden, it demonstrates he's capable of completely compartmentalizing his responsibilities. I'll look into it, Jennifer repeated. We said our goodbyes. I went home, but I couldn't let it go. That night, I did something probably crazy. I made a fake Facebook profile, used a random woman's photo from a stock image site, created a whole backstory, and I sent friend requests to everyone in Jake's life. His sisters, his mom, his cousins, old high school friends. Most people ignored the request, but a few accepted, and that's how I found her. buried in the comments of a 4-year-old post on Jake's sister's page. A woman named Ashley had commented, "Can't believe Jake Jr. is already walking. He looks just like his daddy." Jake Jr. I clicked on Ashley's profile. It was set to private, but her profile picture showed a little boy who looked exactly like Jake. The photo was dated 3 years ago. Jake had another son, a son who would be around 4 years old now. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to Jennifer. She called me 30 minutes later. "Holy shit." "I know. How did you find this?" "I got creative. Can you use it?" "I'll need to verify it. Track down this Ashley woman. Get documentation. But Emma, if this is real, this changes everything." It took Jennifer 4 days to track down Ashley. She lived in Seattle. She dated Jake 5 years ago, got pregnant. Jake promised to support her and the baby. Then he disappeared, changed his number, blocked her on social media, vanished. Ashley had tried to get child support through the courts, but Jake fought it, claimed the baby wasn't his, demanded a paternity test. The test proved he was the father. The court ordered him to pay $400 a month in child support. He paid it irregularly, sometimes months late, sometimes not at all. Ashley had given up trying to get him involved in their son's life. Jennifer presented this information to the judge before the ruling. Jake's lawyer tried to argue it was irrelevant, that Ashley's situation had nothing to do with Lily's case. But Judge Reeves disagreed. "It demonstrates a pattern," she said. "Multiple children with multiple women, a history of abandonment and deception, financial irresponsibility. This is relevant to Mr. Morrison's fitness as a parent." The ruling came down 2 days later. Jake's parental rights were terminated. He would have no contact with Lily, no visitation, no rights. He would still be required to pay child support, but that was it. Margaret called me crying. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for helping us protect our granddaughter. I'm glad I could help. That investigative work you did, finding Ashley, that's what sealed it." I felt a complicated mix of emotions. Satisfaction that Jake was being held accountable. Sadness for Lily and Jake Jr., who both deserved better fathers. Relief that it was finally over. But mostly I felt tired. So fucking tired. I called Vanessa. "It's over," I said. "I heard." Margaret texted me. "How do you feel?" "Numb. You?" "Same." We made plans to get dinner the following week. We'd become unlikely friends through all of this. Trauma bonded in the strangest way. I didn't hear from Jake after the ruling. No texts from burner numbers. No surprise visits. Nothing. Connor texted me once. "Jake's moving to California. Starting over. Wanted you to know in case you were worried about running into him." I wasn't worried, but I appreciated the heads up. 3 months passed. I settled into my new apartment. Adopted a second cat. An orange tabby named Peanut who Dumpling tolerated with resigned annoyance. Started therapy to work through the trust issues Jake had left me with. Went on a few dates. Nothing serious. I wasn't ready for serious. I ran into Patricia Morrison at the grocery store one Sunday. She saw me and tears filled her eyes. "Emma." "Hi, Patricia. I'm so sorry for everything my son put you through. Margaret told me everything. It's not your fault. I raised him. I must have done something wrong." "You didn't do anything wrong. Jake made his own choices." We stood there in the produce section, 2 women trying to make sense of how someone we both loved turned out to be a monster. "He's in San Diego now," Patricia said, "working at a tech startup. He says he's in therapy, trying to be better." "I hope he is." "Do you really?" I thought about it. "Yeah," I said finally. "I do. Not for his sake, but for the sake of anyone he dates next. And for Lily and Jake Jr. Maybe someday he'll get his shit together enough to be someone they can know." Patricia hugged me. I let her. Sometimes I still think about that pink onesie. How something so small and innocent led me down a rabbit hole that completely exploded my life. How a single moment of curiosity, reaching into a glove compartment looking for napkins, changed everything. I'm glad I found it. I'm glad I asked questions. I'm glad I didn't accept Jake's lies, even when believing them would have been easier. Because now I'm free. Free to build a life based on truth instead of convenient fictions. Free to trust my instincts when something doesn't feel right. Free to demand honesty from the people I love. It's been 6 months since I found that onesie. 6 months since my entire world fell apart and I had to rebuild it from scratch. And you know what? I'm okay. Not perfect. Not healed. I still have bad days where I wonder if I'll ever trust anyone again. But I'm okay. And that's enough for now.